Assalamu alaikum. I'm Mohammed Haris and this is Fears, where stories don't whisper, fear speaks. Tonight you'll hear bloody, real and terrifying tales told by none other than Killer Droid, who doesn't just narrate, she clings to your mind. If you're alone or feel like someone's watching you, it's better you stop this video right now, because these stories attack in silence. But if you truly think you're brave, then watch till the end and drop a comment. Fears can't harm me. Subscribe to Fears, because the next story might be right behind you. Recite Ayatul Kursi. The tale is about to begin.
I took a solo spring break trip when I was 19. My friends all had other plans, and I wanted to drive cross-country camp a bit, and just get away from everything. One night in Tennessee, I got caught in a thunderstorm. My plan to camp clearly wasn't going to happen, so I pulled off the interstate and found this super cheap, sketchy-looking motel. It was the kind of place with flickering neon lights, half the parking lot lights out, and a sleepy-looking front desk clerk who barely looked at me when I checked in. I was given room 112. The room was as grimy as you'd expect. Musty carpet, broken AC, and stained walls. But I was tired, and the rain was still pouring, so I didn't care. I laid in bed, scrolling my phone, when I heard scratching coming from the wall behind the bed. At first, I thought it was pipes, or rats, or something. Then, I heard whispering, clear as day. A deep voice saying, "He watches everyone who checks in." I jumped up and pressed my ear to the wall. Nothing. Total silence. I told myself it was just the wind. But the next morning, while grabbing coffee in the lobby, I mentioned it to the clerk as a joke. He looked at me, completely serious, and said, "That room used to have a long-term tenant. Guy who got arrested for installing peepholes in the walls. They never fixed it." I went back and checked the wall behind the headboard. And yeah, there was a tiny hole, covered by peeling wallpaper. I stuck a flashlight in and found a small, dusty crawlspace that ran between the rooms. Inside, there was an old camcorder. I gave it to the front desk and left immediately. I don't know what was on the tape, but part of me still wonders if the guy ever really left. In late April of 2015, a group of 3 friends decided to hike the Shawnee National Forest in southern Illinois. They weren't seasoned hikers, just a couple of college kids who wanted to camp and drink under the stars for the weekend. They parked their car on a gravel trail and hiked in about 5 miles before setting up camp. That night, the air got unusually cold. They heard snapping branches around them, but assumed it was deer or raccoons. Around 3 a.m., one of them woke up too. And noticed something strange. All around their campsite, in a perfect circle, were red flowers, bright crimson, growing in places they hadn't been just hours earlier. Freaked out, they packed up at sunrise and hiked back. When they stopped at a gas station, they mentioned it to the cashier. She froze and said, "Those only grow near grave mounds. My grandpa told me when he was young, people would find those when someone died alone in the woods. Nobody plants them, they just show up." Later, they searched online and found out the flowers were called bloodroot. Locals believed it marked the place where settlers had been buried without ceremony, often victims of violence. They returned months later, out of curiosity, and couldn't find the same campsite. GPS coordinates didn't match, trails seemed different. Like the forest moved. They never found those flowers again. On Easter Sunday 2022, a family in rural Pennsylvania woke up to something strange. Outside their door were 3 Easter eggs hand-painted, but old-looking. Each was filled with something disturbing: dead bugs, animal bones, and what appeared to be a child's tooth. They thought it was a messed-up prank. Maybe kids being edgy. But things escalated quickly. The next morning, there were more eggs. This time arranged in a cross on their front porch. Inside them, pieces of burnt hair and scraps of clothing. The family called the police, who made a report and set up a camera on the front porch. That night, around 3 a.m., the camera caught something. A tall figure in a dirty homemade bunny mask, just standing at the tree line, watching the house. He stayed there for over an hour before vanishing. The footage was grainy, but you could see him rocking slightly, like he was humming or swaying. The police searched the area and found an old van parked off a back road. Inside were dozens of similar eggs, rope, duct tape, and hundreds of photos of the family taken from outside their home, some dated months earlier. The man was never found, but the van was traced to a storage facility in a nearby town. When officers searched the unit, they found costumes, wigs, and dozens of dolls posed in family tableaus. The family moved soon after. The house is still empty. And every year since, on Easter Sunday, a single painted egg shows up on their old doorstep.
These were tonight's stories, but remember, they didn't come to scare you, they came to wake you up. If your heart's still beating, you belong to Fears. Subscribe, hit the bell, because fear doesn't knock, and if you feel shadow move and don't turn around, the story has ended us, but someone's still watching you.